an extra 15 grand for you, right? Well, no, because property developers are greedy little f***ers. They know you were budgeting an extra 15 grand to pay stamp duty tax, so when that tax is cut, what they're going to do is just raise the initial price of the property and take that extra money for themselves. The Institute for Economic Affairs actually found this to be the case. They found that for every £1,500 cut in stamp duty tax, an extra £600 was added onto property prices.
Hi, Callum Price here from the Institute of Economic Affairs. Thank you for the mention. You're right that there may be a small increase in the underlying price of houses if we were to abolish stamp duty, but there are some wider economic effects that you haven't taken into consideration here. There's a housing crisis on, first and foremost. This is largely thanks to a broken planning system, which definitely needs fixing, but houses are more unaffordable than ever. Young people can't get on the housing ladder, families can't move up into bigger homes, and people can't move to where they get paid properly in better, more productive jobs. Stamp duty really exacerbates this problem by making the transactions between houses, buying and selling, moving houses, much more expensive, so people are less likely to do it. That's why we have so many retired people, older couples living in huge houses, because it costs them so much to downsize. That means, further down the ladder, that smaller families are stuck in starter homes and would-be first-time buyers are just locked out altogether. Abolishing stamp duty would help alleviate this problem. There would be much more fluidity in the housing market, and that would have widely beneficial economic effects. If people can move to where they're more productive, where they get better paid jobs, that would be a boon to the economy. There is evidence that stamp duty is a drag on economic growth. It would also mean people can move to be close to family, to have more children, and to move maybe into smaller houses if they are living in places that are far too big for them. Yes, there is the point that stamp duty raises a lot of money for the taxpayer, for the exchequer to spend on public services, but actually there's good evidence to suggest too that it wouldn't cost as much as we might think to abolish because of all the economic benefits of abolishing it. If you think about what would happen if there were much more housing transactions, if there was much more moving, that would be many more people using conveyancing services, many more people buying new furniture, many more people getting to the jobs where they can add more value to the economy. There's taxes and all of that for the government. And also there are just better ways to raise money. You don't have to raise money from stamp duty. There are other more efficient, less damaging ways to raise them. One proposal I've seen is to merge stamp duty with a sort of fixed council tax, or even more radically, move to a land value tax, which would tax the underlying unimproved value of the land. When we talk about tax cuts, it's really important to consider, as well as the effects on the exchequer, what the wider economic effects are. And this is truer with stamp duty than it is with most.